Thank you. Let me begin by commending the gentlelady for her amendment. It is appropriate and fitting that the amendment brings up. And when I think back to, our opening day, and I didn't make the note of the speaker, but I think it was a gentleman from North Carolina. And if I look back at my notes, as the statement said, it's not a reason for something not to be in the bill just because it was not a cause of the financial crisis. That certainly does apply in this situation, that they put in regulation for the automobile industry, and no one from any expert that we heard from, no one from any committee hearing that we ever had, no one from inside this room or outside the room have ever alleged that the underlying cause of the financial crisis we're in today is because of the auto dealers. And when you think about it, quite the...
The gentleman yield?
Yeah, sure.
You seem to be quoting the gentleman. You're talking about this gentleman?
I think so.
Okay.
It was one of your opening statements there.
All right. Well, let me just be clear. There are a bunch of things in this bill that that cover things that nobody has alleged were caused.
Reclaiming my time, that's exactly the point that you were making, that there's a lot of stuff in this bill that has absolutely nothing to do with the crisis, and that was the statement that the gentleman was making, and I was just reminding the committee that the gentleman made that statement, and this is another example of one of the things that is in this bill that was not a cause of the crisis, but even in this situation, maybe it's even worse, because a lot of industries and a lot of people were hurt because of this crisis, but when we consider the impact upon the automobile industry because of this financial crisis, they're in some of the top tier groups of people in industry that were hurt. I don't see Mr. Cummings sitting over there today. I guess it was just yesterday that he was speaking quite eloquently and passionately about the constituents in his district who are suffering in the past and now because of this financial crisis. And I'm sure if he was here, he would share with me that he has heard from, just as I have, from automobile dealerships, family-run businesses who have suffered more than many other people in their communities and lost their...
Gentlemen, continue. We're getting a little bit of background noise.
Sure. I appreciate it, Chairman. Who have lost their businesses, who have been in the families for generations because of this crisis. And now what do? Are we rewarding them for their toughness and sticking to it and trying to claw their way out of this crisis? No, we are rewarding them with even more penalties, more punitive legislation, more punitive regulations in all the areas that the gentlelady has already outlined, tougher regulations and restrictions that do nothing to address the problems that we may see in the future on this. Now, I believe it was the chairman and someone else who says, well, it'll allow for the enhanced rulemaking authority, and maybe it wasn't the chairman who said it, so I don't want to cite him. We already have the systems in place for the due diligent and thorough and thoughtful process as far as the regulations for this industry that is in place now is necessary. And I believe the gentleman from Texas reiterated a number of those points as far as the regulations, as far as consumer protection and the like just the other day. They're already there. The federal regulators on the Fed and otherwise already have the authority in place necessary to protect the consumers. So this is not about trying to do something that's not being taken care of now. This is about making sure that the auto dealers are family-run, small businesses who will be able to sustain themselves and grow out of this tough economic crisis. And I think we should do everything we can to stand beside them. And I appreciate my cause. Thank you. I yield back.
Mr. Chairman.